What's going on, guys? Today's question from the AskMen Reddit is why so many guys nowadays struggle with finding a girlfriend. I happen to think the top comment is the top comment for good reason on this one, and I'm going to give my own opinion on it afterwards. As Adolescent Treadmill says, online dating is the source which fuels the main problem, which is the self esteem problem. It will leave most men feeling that they are entirely undesirable. And given that most men use these online dating platforms as their main form of contact for meeting women, results in most single men feeling that they can't attract anyone. Why? The vast majority of men do not get any positive female feedback from these apps, so they don't even bother anymore. Their self esteem has been entirely torn apart by the experience of it to the point where they can't even recognize attraction signals from women in real life scenarios anymore. They just accept the fact that they are not wanted by anyone. So there's three main struggles as to why dudes pretty much just give up on even trying to find a girlfriend that I want to go over super quick. One, locations to even actually approach somebody and be at least amount of risk, because there's never risk free of being reprimanded, but the least amount of risk to be able to approach somebody. We don't really have much of anywhere where that we can go these days. Even before the pandemic, we had what, the bar, the gym, maybe, and maybe if you're in a hobby that has more co-ed kind of spread. But especially after the pandemic, where are you supposed to go? The bar? Well, even before the pandemic, that was a low quality place, low vibes. Typically, people not looking for something long term to and healthy, by that matter, to be able to hold on to. So, unless you had some sort of friend group, which seems a bit rare these days as well, then you pretty much were limited to the bar or apps. So, if you're not on the bars, you're on the apps, and the apps are a very difficult spot because not only are there lots of people on there for both sides, and there's different issues for both sides, but if you don't exhibit specific characteristics just based off looks, you can get shot down super hard very quickly. Nobody's going to be interested in an average Joe as much than they are, some dude who could be labeled as like a Chad. Now, I'm not going to spark some sort of incel type thing here. That's not what I'm interested in whatsoever. I happen to think that there's a lot of things you could do in order to garner more attention from people that wouldn't fall into the whole like peacocking kind of thing. It's just more so like taking care of yourself and actually putting your best self out there and being able to portray yourself in an authentic way that you can actually back up, etc. But I can cover that in a different video. Let me know if you want more on that. But if you're on the apps, it's also extremely difficult to be able to get noticed. And the hardest part about that too is to be able to get noticed by the people that you also are interested in. And I'm sure women struggle from the same thing. My girlfriend articulated to me that she felt a very similar struggle, which was, sure, I could find matches, if you will, left and right, but finding quality matches, people that actually either match the description that they gave or are good people in general that I'm truly interested in being with long term or compatible, was so limited. So it's like this environment where not only are you already having the awful thing of basically window shopping for people, you might be honest about your profile, you might not be honest about your profile on both sides, but you're also having this experience of just being shot down just based off, what limited information you can put on those bios or what limited pictures you might have of yourself. So that's also just an extremely rough place. The second thing that people really struggle with regards to finding a girlfriend would be just the continued need for an extensive amount of confidence to be able to actually either go approach women in real life or to be able to stay on those apps to be able to make a connection that will eventually turn into something. You honestly have to almost treat it and be willing to go through something like running into a wall over and over and over again. It's like basically inflicting pain on yourself over and over again and being okay with it until you can finally find somebody who you're compatible with, which on some level is kind of just how dating goes. But then to the extreme that we experience it these days, I don't think that's as necessary, right? So it can be really deterring to people who may already have issues with their self-confidence, their body image, their sense of self-worth, which leads me to the third part that will easily lead to men struggling super hard with finding a girlfriend, which is we don't even know that we're worth anything these days. The amount of stuff that we're told on social media about what we have to be or what we have to have or, what we need to not be in certain cases is actually the emphasis is pretty wild, man. I mean, the list is extensive at this point. Um, we're supposed to be funny. We're supposed to make over six figures. We're supposed to have loads of time along with lots of money. I guess we're supposed to still be over 6 feet tall and be in good shape, but not too good a shape because that's too unappealing as well. Like it's incredible to try to think of the amount of things. Honestly, it leads most to people, I'm sure women feel this way too, in a position where we're all just wondering, like, okay, I can't be ripped, but I can't be fat. So where's good enough? Well, to this group of people, that's too much. To that group of people, that's too little. So you're constantly having these experiences that's like ever changing with where the goalpost is of like what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to have in order to finally have the thing. The thing being a relationship that's healthy in this case. But sometimes you can even experience this in other areas as well. So those three main things of like, where the hell do we even meet people these days that we're allowed to meet people? Having the confidence and the self-worth, being able to go through the whole struggle of just being, able to withstand the rejections is very difficult. But on a side note from that, not to make it all like, oh no, just give up kind of stuff, we have a lot of things that we as men can do in order to really counteract and kind of fight back, if you will, to be able to, put ourselves out there and be more attractive to potential partners. Some of the things that come to mind with regards to this stuff is being able to express your emotions very clearly and be able to articulate yourself fairly decently. You don't have to be, savant level kind of stuff where you can be the most emotional man ever. No, we're just needing to really level up our game on our side as men of being able to have more emotions than happy, mad, or content. There's far more involved. And we just need to be able to understand, first of all, what those emotions are, and then how to actually approach those with others, especially women. So we need to understand that having emotions is innately human, which comes before our masculinity. It's a human thing to have emotions. It's not a female thing to have emotions. It's not just women who have emotions or kids. It's men as well. It doesn't make you weak. And in fact, some of the strongest men that I know are men that can clearly articulate, you know what? I'm really struggling right now. I feel angry about this. I feel frustrated about that. I feel sad about this. And they just articulate that. And you might ask a follow-up of, hey man, well, what are you going to, what are you going to do about that? Some subcultures of men might think that you need to have an action plan. You got to have it all hammered out and have something figured out to be able to solve all that. But you don't. You don't. Honestly, it comes down to just being able to say, oh, you know what? I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that, but I'm gonna try to figure it out. I say that as a software engineer all the time. I'm not really sure how to solve that, but I'm going to go do some research and see what I can do to figure it out. That has transpired and been so useful to me in so many other areas of my life. Just being willing to look at something, separate yourself from it, and then say, you know what? I don't really know how to solve that. I don't really know what to do with that, but I'm going to try to figure it out. I'm going to throw something at it and see if it sticks and learn from it if not. So outside of having some emotional intelligence, us as dudes could just be a little more respectful, instead of telling a girl how damn fine she is or hitting on her in some aggressive way, you can cleanly just be like, man, you look absolutely beautiful today. How are you doing? That's it. Don't make any sort of touches. Don't make any sort of advances. Just, you look amazing today. I love what you did with, and comment on something that she's wearing or did with her hair. It's as simple as that. You're not sitting there objectifying her. You're saying, I'm seeing you. Hi, I see you. Not as some object of my desire, but as a human being. Approach these women as human beings. I hate to have to say that, but that seems to be something that we apparently need to learn as a group of men, as the men of this planet, is just to see them as human beings. That's it. Right? We need to let go of that whole situation of like, oh, I'm super horny. My testosterone's got me being super horny. Ah, I need to make these sexual comments. No, you don't. No, you don't. So outside of having the emotional intelligence, having respect with how you approach and interact with women, I think that could get you pretty dang far. A lot of my experiences before I found my girlfriend were communicating with people through these apps. And I wouldn't say that I'm a total Chad or anything like that. I'd be a pretty average fella and maybe even on the heavy side. And still, as soon as I get into conversations with girls that I would match, one of the most prevalent things that I would have conversations with them about and hear back as feedback is, dang, I appreciate that you have some emotional intelligence. I appreciate that you can clearly articulate what you're feeling and just be okay with that. Not being afraid of being judged or being seen as weak because you have emotions. Remember, the emotions are human. It comes before your masculinity. It's the base. You're not going to get rid of it. Your masculinity doesn't just shut down all these emotions. No, you need to put your masculinity on top of and build off of those ground skills that you need to have. So I think there's a lot that we could do on our side as men to be able to kind of counteract and work against this whole situation of all the things that are stacked aside or stacked against us being able to find a healthy partner. There's a lot of stuff we can do that I haven't even gotten into all of it yet in this video to be able to have a better chance at finding a girlfriend. But hey, I think that's enough for this one. If you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you think about this whole situation as far as why do men struggle to find a girlfriend these days? And let me know. I'll put the link to this Reddit post in the description, by the way, so you can go check it out. You can go see all the other wonderful comments. And I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. And I hope I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.